Okay, good afternoon. This afternoon I will be discussing to you the lesson 3 and hopefully the lesson 4 as well. So, diri na ko siya gikuha. So, this is your Google Classroom and then I already uploaded the lesson 3 and the lesson 4. So, we will go to the lesson 3 copy. Okay. Just ignore the file name, but this is the lesson 3. So, identify and replace use technology and consumables in accordance with manufacturer instructions and organizational requirements. So first, I will inform you, or I will discuss to you a little bit of what our objectives are. So at the end of this lesson, hopefully, you will be able to identify and choose the correct consumables and that are necessary in using the business tools and technology in the workplace, and also to identify what are the appropriate procedures relating to the acquisition and the replacement of the consumables. So, let's first discuss how to identify or what are the needed things for us to be able to achieve those objectives. First is we have to define what is consumable. So, consumable is the item that is consumed by the business tools. In use and without it, the tools will become useless. So, other example of or other definition of consumables are those product that consumers used. So that consumer used nga, in our layman's term, consumables are those products nga naa siya'y end, nga mahurot siya. As long as you're using it frequently or you're using it concurrently or recurrently, mahurot gid siya. So let's say for example, those items nga may used up siya, meaning to say mahurot siya. So let's say for example, in a hotel, consumable items usually are kanang tissues, kanang mga wipes, clothes, cleaning products, kitchen towels, uh, mga beddings and pillows. Those are consumables kay naaman sila'y ingon pa expiry date or naa sila'y uh, point in time wherein they're not functioning well now, or uh, they're not in a very good condition to use anymore. So the business register also will record the details of the asset, including the consumables, with descriptions and a part number if applicable. So it is not enough to list the model number of the tools, but also the part number, as it is will ensure the correct item is supplied. So since we are talking about consumables, or we are talking about business tools, most of the technology machine, when we're talking about technology or business tools nga naa siya expiry date, are printers. Printers are actually have its maximum service, like if nakaprint na mo og 1,000, 2,000 or 3,000 maximum number of papers, automatically it will really it cannot print anymore because you have reached its serviceable agreement already. And then some of the technology pod nga consumables are of course calculators. There's a point in time nga di na gyud siya pwede magamit. And then computers also, because although computers is a machine, but there's also a time when the materials or the specification is no longer can no longer meet the needs of the certain business. Let's say for example, Celeron pa iyang microprocessor, but now we all know nga naa na ta sa mga i6, i7 and like that. So there's a point in time that those machines or those business tools can no longer meet the specification or can no longer meet the needs of the certain business. So those are consumables. And then some consumables, let's say for example, kanang mga cables, mga wires, those are also consumables because mo na gitawag nato nga wear and tears. Kung sasakyanan pa, kanang mga battery sa sakyanan, and then kanang mga wires dito, kanang mga cables niya, it has its lifespan. So mo na siya. And then, not all consumables are replaceable by the user. Some of them are replaceable by technicians or specialists who know the function of the tools. So, there are some business tools nga it cannot be automatically be replaced by the user. Let's say, for example, if I am the manager of the certain department, if maguba ang computers or if maguba ang certain tools, I can just get a replacement from a computer shop. However, there are some tools nga naka-contract na siya with the supplier. So let's say for example, you have the POS kanamurag cash register wherein the supplier of those type of business tools are exclusively done by a certain expert. Let's say ang software adto or ang machine dito can only be uh, brought or can only be purchased through a certain exclusive party or exclusive company. And then the only thing nga ma-install na sa imong business or the only thing that ma-install na sa imong department is to use their technicians or their specialists. That's it. And then we also have the management decision. So since consumables entail costs, similar decisions in relation to the consumables are also related to the tool itself. Of course, all the things, all the tools, all the materials that you are using inside your department, may it be hotel or may it be any type of business, it really costs. It really involves money. So for the management to decide what type or what brand or what kanang consumables we have to procure or we have to purchase, it has to be its certain usability within the department. Dili pod pwede nga you're gonna purchase a consumables and then a type of business tools na consumables and then it is not really usable or it's not really that relevant to that certain department. And then number 3 is who has the access rights. So access sa consumables. So we have consumables represent cost. So it represents money. As long as you have it's new, as long as you purchase any business tools, it really costs money. It really involves money. So they must be controlled or ensure the item that is used for its intended purposes. So in some cases, consumables and its cost are allocated to each department. So in other cases, the use will be recorded to ensure that reordering takes place when it is necessary. That's why this inventory will comes in, and then the access of who are dedicated, of who are entitled to use that consumables on consumables. Let's say for example, computers or kanang murag cash registers or any type of business tools, it has to be someone nga responsible lang mo gamit ana. So let's say for example, the computer, so it has to be assigned to a certain person so that ma-monitor ang usage, ma-monitor og let's say kung printer, ma-monitor ang kanang number of copies that it has to be produced so that ma-record pod na to or ma-identify pod of usually what is the lifespan of that certain business tools. Let's say for example, if you have a printer, we all know that now there's a lot of printer, there's a lot there are available, but however most of the printers now have its own expiry date, meaning to say disposable na siya. So for us to identify when will be the next time that you buy your printer para ma-check ninyo ang finances within your company, you have to know who will use it and how it is often being used. So let's say for example, for every 2 years or for every 3 years, you have to purchase another consumable business tool. So that's how it works. And then what should you order? So in some cases, there are aftermarket services or alternative which the business can use or avail. So it is the management prerogative to decide which type of product the company is going to use. there are usually cost advantage associated with using the aftermarket, but they may avoid warranty and there might be issues in the performance of the tools regardless of the choices the management decides. Such decisions should be recorded. So every time there are need to purchase a consumables business tools, we have to ensure that we know what is the necessary things that you have to purchase within your department. So in a company, in any type of organization, in any type of company, there is always a department wherein that department is assigned to ensure that the correct processes or the correct protocol to purchase such business tools is properly documented. So let's say for example, if mopalita og kanang tools, let's say oven or whatever uh, tools that needed in the kitchen, it has to be properly documented, properly check if those kanang oven or a big purchases has its own warranty or has its own kanang murabag quality gyud ang pagkapalit. So let's say for example, if you're going to buy a certain equipment and then you don't know the warranty of it, or you are not really sure the quality of that tools or the quality of that equipment, a lot of problems will arise after that, because it might get into trouble and then you don't have the warranty anymore. So it has to be, so when you buy a business tools or an equipment for any business, it has to go through a certain process that everything must be put in order, especially the what type of product, what type of business tools that is relevant to that department, what type of business tools that is really very necessary, and then what type of product that gives you a quality output and good service, because there are some of the, especially in the kitchen, no, or in any type of department, when you purchase something, uh, you have to make sure also that there's a service. I forgot what's the name of that, but there's a service warranty wherein up to 10 years, especially like big air conditions, it has to be something like you have a service warranty, or you have a contract that within 10 years or within 5 years, you have a contract that they will be checking your equipment from time to time. Let's say for example, if it is a photocopier, so from time to time they are going to check it as their service warranty within your business tools. And then we also have the supplier. So the supplier should be identified either in stock list or register. So with some business items, there can be many suppliers and there can be little differences in quality between them. So in cases there is only one supplier, it is important to identify the supplier so that they can be easily found. So especially big businesses, big organization, when there are things or where there are tools or where there are equipment that needs to purchase, uh, na siya certain processes wherein you have to send proposal, or you have to send to a certain suppliers what kind of materials or what kind of business tools you need, or you need to have in your company. So suppliers will send you a proposal, suppliers will send you a specification of their products. Although uh, they are most of the time they are of the same specification and almost a little bit difference with the prices. But you really have to go through with it, especially that it will really affect the type or the quality of the business tools that you will purchase from that certain supplier. So if in case there is only one supplier, it is important to identify the supplier so that it can be easily found. So if you have, let's say for example, your the business tools that you need to purchase is very uh, needed, and then it's hard to find, you really have to take note all the necessary details regarding that supplier, because it may be the only person, or it may be the only company or the supplier that can supply you with that kind of business tools. And we also have the training, of course. So in some cases, a local expert will install the item. So there are, for especially for big purchases, especially for big companies that needs, as well as big uh, business tools as well, it has to be coupled with training, because there are certain tools, or there are certain business tools, especially if it is technology based kind of tools, that needs to have a training first before they will allow the buyer to use that certain business, to use that certain tools. Let's say for example, as simple as the photocopier, it has to choose kinsay maka-access ana, and then how are you going to use that photocopier, or in if in the case pod of like the front disk, diba, you have the certain uh, computer set wherein you're going to use a certain software, especially for check-in, for check-out, and all of that, hotel management information system, or management information system nga monitor ninyo ang mga guest, and then your consumers, or your customers. So it needs to have a training, not just for the one who will use the certain tools, but also for the managers, so that they can also monitor that consumables kind of tool. And then in case of the process and procedure for replacement for each consumables, for the tools needs to be documented and stored in accessible location. So like, let's say for example, if that as simple as a POS, or a point of sale, it is when the customers, or the clients, or the guest will use a credit card. It has to be something, it needs to have a training on how are you going to, or to use, to charge it through the credit card. So it needs to be trained, someone to be trained for that as well. And then especially if naatay mga consumables like changing of changing of ink, mag-change og ink for the big printers, or mag-change og, like in the kitchen, mag-change og kanang mga tank, or whatever needs consumable tools that needs to be replaced from time to time. It has to be someone that is trained to do that, or else your it becomes useless if no one is being trained to transfer, to release, or to have those kind of kanang uh, needed information for especially for those replacement from time to time. So we also have the documentation. So out of all these, so from the business registers, management decisions, access rights for those who will use the business tools, what should you order, the things that you need to order, the correct ways on how to order those business tools, the supplier wherein the one that who will supply you, or the one who will provide you with this kind of business tools, the training that you need to have in order for you to properly use the business tools. Most importantly is the documentation. So any document that was provided with the tools, and documents and records created by the company for the tools should be kept in a known and accessible location. So if you have noticed, uh, every time you buy a certain tools, bisan cellphone pa na, or just a little kanang mga appliances, there's always a manual. It is a documentation for to help you, or to guide you on how to use that certain tools properly. Same with the business tools that you have in the business. Let's say if it is an hospitality management, or if it is a hotel. For every business tools, there's a guide for you. There's a guide for you somewhere, somewhere visible for everyone, on how you're going, or how to use that properly. So it is a type of documentation, so that the maintenance, the correct usage of the certain tools will be properly documented, or will be properly manage. Kay if no documentation is available, uh, it will be confusing for the one to use because you don't have the guide on or the steps on how we're going to use that certain tool. So it might get the tools broken or damaged if without proper documentation. So we also have the ordering. So in AD order process, there's a lag time between ordering and delivery of the item. Therefore, the management must consider the time difference to ensure the availability of supplies during the time of ordering. This is also related to the access rights and so many other here. It's a quite related because in ordering manggod, if you have properly oriented or if you have properly nakay proper inventory, you have the idea. Not just don't wait for the consumable to finally have its end time or its finally lifespan. You have the vision, or you can order in advance so that the next time that is out of order already, the business tools, you have something in replace for that already. Let's say for example, as simple as ordering bond paper. Don't order the bond paper when it's you have run out of it already. So you have to order advance because there's quite a lag of time, especially in a big company. There are a lot of processes like i-purchase pa na, like let's say i-order pa na siya, and then there's a lot of kanang protocol in order for you to get the money, and then the ordering time, the availability if it's not kuan. So it will hamper the operation of that company if you wait for the when it will get used up. So in advance, you have to properly document, you have to properly order before it runs out of time or before it runs out of supply. Okay, so I hope you were able to understand what I'm talking about in the lesson 3. I hope you will able to grasp some informations regarding consumables, and if any questions, if you have anything else you want to for me to discuss, or if there's anything else that you want me to further discuss, please let me know, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.